Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the War Room. We got Dev, Kill, Jimmy, PJ, B. Austin, the Hot Block Commander. How you wanna end a 1 or 2 hour show to keep the brain running with the premise to talk sports on a national level? Bold with the topic, sorta like the rebels. When it's game time, they like the Fab Five during prime time. Sports conglomerates speak their minds a little bit. For sports medicine and sports veterans and greats. The 4th and 26th, so the war in Kuwait. It's the War Room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys, diversified and educated.
What's good, everybody out there in War Room Nation? You are once again live in the War Room, brought to you by War Room Sports on, of course, the War Room Sports Podcast Network. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Dev McMillan. I'm at the round table with my brothers, Jimmy the Blueprint and the Bull B. Austin. We're in week number 4. The count up is on. Week number 4 of the sports shutdown due to the novel coronavirus, COVID-19. But in the wake of Jameis Winston having trouble finding a new job after the Tom Brady takeover, we're going to talk to Chuck Modiano about his latest article for Deadspin, which chronicles what legendary quarterback Jameis should remind us of after 5 NFL seasons. So keep it locked right here with your boys. And again, we might not be going the whole 2 hours a night or for the foreseeable future, but if you want to get in on the conversation, you can do that right now in the By the Hood chat room at blogtalkradio.com/The War Room, or you can join us on Facebook, Twitter, the War Room Sports Game Time app on Game Time group on the GroupMe app. Wherever you usually talk to us, hit us right there while you're listening, and we'll holler at you. So we'll also be taking calls on the Digital Extreme Tech Hotline as usual. That number is 323-410-0012. Before we get started, as we usually do, we got to remind you guys, especially now, this could be when you pick up this habit. And when life goes back to normal, maybe you can keep this habit. But when we're not live on the air, you guys can check us out. You can check out archive episodes of our show at a ton of places. You can do that at warroomsports.com. You can do that on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spreaker, Blog Talk Radio, Google and Apple Podcasts, Spotify, a whole lot of other places, man. You guys can do that while you're bored during the day, while you're working from home. If you still have to go into work, God bless you, you can do it there as well. But you can listen to us. You can listen to everybody else on our network, the Broad Street Line, John Appetit, After Further Review, Tissue and the Tape, Hip Hop Podcast, Safe Space. Whatever's your pleasure, you can listen to it right here on the War Room Sports Podcast Network. What up, Jim, man? We still going through this stuff, man. It seems like every time we come back, it's not like it's good news. There's no improvements. It's getting worse by the day.
No.
Scarier
yeah, this is
by the day.
This is crazy. Like, it's getting to the point now where I wake up like, yo, this got to be a dream. Like, I can't believe I'm living through this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They straight closed outside, yo.
They definitely did. And for me, man, I know I told you earlier, like, man, 1987, you know, I had some personal stuff hit that will always make that the worst year of my life. But overall, bad year. 2020 has no real rival for me, you know, except that one year. But that was just one event. But
yeah, no, I understand.
One life-changing event. This,
I understand.
Dude, I thought we wouldn't. I mean, Kobe died. And we took that hard for a good month. Now that seems like a distant memory. That seems like a footnote. Because 2020 is just so trash that things just keep happening. And we're only in the beginning of April. And it's already, in my opinion, the worst year that I've ever seen. So,
dog, it's crazy because to the point where I'm just sitting around. I be thinking about all sorts of random things because all you got is time on you. Time is trash on quarantine, though. Time just be like, I'm like, how come time don't go by like this? Like, anyway, with that being said, like, it's absolutely nuts. I'm like, yo, what is Uncle Murder going to rap about at the end of the year? Ain't nothing happened. Like,
none.
Yo, outside closed.
I mean, sad to say, the whole wrap up might be about like names of people who might not be with us.
It's gonna be about IG Live, yo.
Yeah, and IG Live, the concerts on IG Live, and who's not with us no more? Because this thing, like for the past, 3 or 4 weeks or so, we've gone down that whole gamut of, what this virus could be, who can't get it, or who might not be that susceptible to it. Now it's hitting so close to home that is really truly starting to get scary. Like several people we know at this point have either dealt with this disease. A couple of people we know have lost their lives to this disease. Like the list just builds every week, and it gets scarier and scarier. Man, I really like. My wife be on some, okay, I want to take the kids outside for like 20 minutes a day to get them some fresh air. I'm not even with that. I'm not even with that.
Yo.
I don't even, not even in my driveway. I don't even, I don't feel comfortable with that.
Yeah, I don't trust nothing. It's to the point where there's been a couple of days over the last couple of weeks, like, that I literally went days without seeing sunlight. And I had to remind myself, like, yo, just like stick your head out the window to see some sunlight, because, yo, I literally went days without sunlight. Like, now the good thing is, like,
good.
I was just going to say that for the first week, I wasn't productive at all because I was still in, like, a shock. So lately I've been getting way more, I got a lot of work done that I, stuff that I could do, that as opposed to just sitting around going on Twitter and, like, reading news all day to make yourself even worse.
See, and that's the bad thing. That's why I don't feel comfortable doing anything, because I'm sitting here reading stuff and watching stuff all day. So you don't know what's true. You don't know what's not. So you just precautionary against everything. I'm sitting here like, I don't know if we should go outside, man. People be walking by on the path. What if somebody sneeze? How long that's going to stay in the air? We could just be chilling in the driveway, chilling on the porch. And the wind might blow some, like, you just don't know, man, because
I know. And
I've seen a couple of people get it, Jim, and they be like, yo, I'm already OCD. I wash my hands and this and that, like, before all of this, like crazy, and I still got it. Y'all better take this seriously. So I don't know, man.
And I know people that have had it, that have recovered. Like, again, I shared last episode that I know someone who passed, but also I know people that have had it and recovered. But the crazy part is, the way they talk about it scares me too. They're like, yo, you do not want to go through it. You can't breathe. You know what I mean? It's like,
right. People be like, I'm still alive, but this ain't something you want to play with.
And other people be like, man, it's nothing to worry about, because, the death rate is, I'm like, yo, I don't want to go through the pain of having it. Forget whether I die or not.
Right.
Yo, I don't want it, period. I want no parts of it. I don't want no smoke.
And then what gets more irking by the day? The conspiracy theory dudes. And only because it's one of those things where, okay, you entertain that kind of stuff in the beginning, but as everything starts to hit closer to home and you actually start to know people affected by this, you don't really want to hear that no more.
Yeah.
And God forbid somebody I love die, somebody might have to get these hands the next time I hear some stupid stuff. Man. Like, I ain't got time for that. I don't care who made it. Whether it's man-made, this or that,
exactly.
It's still happening, and people are still dying.
That's exactly the point.
If this is the start of the new world order, okay, so be it. But people are still dying.
Yeah. It's like, yo, man, after forums, he bleeding to death. Yo, listen, man.
Exactly.
And to y'all 5G people, like, yo, the sun gives off more radiation than 5G, so y'all could SMB, like, cut it out.
And then it's like, when you believe in something, when you believe there's a conspiracy backing something, like, you don't give a damn what somebody says, as long as they're saying something that's like what you're saying. Like, people, they lay on every word. Like, we saw that video of the chick. She apparently is in healthcare somewhere. She sounded so ignorant. But if you look at her comments, everybody who wants to believe in a conspiracy, sister talking facts. Yo, she's saying dumb stuff though. She's saying stuff like, it dies in 80-degree weather, stuff like that. But
you know what's funny though?
People who are living in climates like that who have it. Our bodies, for God's sake, we walk around at 98.6 degrees. So if that's the truth, if it can't live over 80 degrees, how is it living in anybody's? Like, I don't know, man. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I don't claim to be, but
here's the crazy part, man. Like, everybody at this point has become. Everybody has become, like, sort of like a Rush Limbaugh type. Like, I remember, like, years ago, talking to someone that, like, knows the boy. And they was like, yo, he don't believe half of what he says, but what he does recognize is enough people will jump on his bandwagon to anything he says, they'll defend it, and enough people will hate him. And either way, they get the view. He gets the views
and that's
he wants.
all he
like
looks at y'all as dollar signs, and y'all idiots.
And the thing is, it's like it used to be like him, and it was a couple other people like that too. Like Howard Erskine was good for that here in Philly, but it's like everybody is on that now. Everybody's on that wave where it's like, yo, I'm just gonna get as much attention as possible. Just probably didn't believe that. Real quick though, we got some questions already coming in from the chat. I want to get your perspective on this because it's about what we're talking about. Shout out to Casey Mack, and Casey Mack, I hope you're staying safe out there in Texas because I know Casey Mack's a firefighter, so he got to work regardless. But he wants to know that are gloves and masks going to be our new norm from here on out? What do we think about that?
I think it might be. I think it might be like, maybe not every single person you see, but like Jimmy mentioned last week, when you used to see somebody walking around the store with gloves and masks, you used to think they were crazy.
Yeah.
You're not going to think
Jackson
that
was a
anymore.
visionary.
So I guess, if you want to call that normal, it's going to be normal whether everybody does it or not. When you see it, you're not going to bat an eye at it like, what's wrong with them? Look what we just went through.
Michael Jackson.
Stuck on punishment.
Mike Jackson was a visionary, man. He's a visionary.
Right.
Well, he had
shout out to all germaphobes because it's y'all time to tell everybody I told y'all so.
Yeah, shout out to Howie Mandel. Yeah, shout out to Howie Mandel.
Germophobia will lend itself to this, but I've been thinking about social distancing and what it's going to do to the human experience. Like handshakes will disappear, hugs will disappear.
I think all that was disappearing anyway.
I'm giving
social media was taking all of that. This is just speeding it up.
So I'm just letting y'all know, man. Y'all my brothers, and I love y'all. But when I see y'all, man, I'm giving y'all the Japanese head nod, y'all. We
gotta start bowing.
We gonna start bowing down, yo. I'm on my Bruce Lee, y'all, man, from now on. And real quick, Casey Mack says about him
go off
being
in the background
Casey Mack says about him being a firefighter. Says that when they get a call now, they go out in damn near hazmat suits just to answer calls.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so Tom's crazy,
man, condolences to Skyview in the chat room. He said literally lost a friend of 20 years yesterday. Man, very sorry to hear that. It's crazy out here, man. We had somebody. Hey, we got a friend. He was on this show before. He was on one of our shows about playing basketball overseas. Who went through it? I didn't even know he was going through it because the last time I saw him and hollered at him, we was inside a D-Nice quarantine party. And then,
he disappeared.
A week and a half later, I hadn't seen him. Didn't think anything of it. He popped back up like, this is my first day back working out. I went through this, and he was telling us how much of a bear it was to go through, man. So shout out to him and his little girls because they had it too. Shout out to you, Mike. But, it's crazy out here. I don't want no parts of this, man.
I don't want no smoke. Leave me alone.
HU, Howard University Viking family just lost somebody today. Shout out to Sean Boyd. It's so familiar. When you're there, everybody's familiar, whether you know them from school, whether you know them from home, coming through somebody. I don't remember him as anybody I knew personally, but the face, unmistakable. Because I always thought he looked like somebody that came in my class. Messages were going out last week that, he was battling this. I got a wife and 2 little girls at home, and he lost his battle this morning, man. It's getting way too close to home, man. So rest in peace to that brother. Condolences to his family and to all the HU family that knew him that are really, hurt by this right now. But it got to be another way, man. This can't be life. This cannot be life, man.
Yeah.
It's a shame we got, this is the new normal. We start every show.
We took the show down to a new low.
Yeah, we always got to go low. We're gonna go back high with it, man. Let's get into some hot topics because we do have special guests joining us in just a few minutes. So hot topics, like we've been telling you for the last 3 weeks.
He ready for the flame?
They brought to you by MyBookie. Not a great time for MyBookie. I'm not sure if they're going to be in business by the time we get back to sports. But when the sports do return, you guys can make a whole lot of bread sports betting at MyBookie. And I'm pretty sure they are dependent on y'all to come and try to do that. So if you still haven't checked them out, man, set up your account now. Nothing's going on. Get used to what you got to do. So you're ready when the games start back up. Y'all can lay down some cash on the biggest games in sports when they come back. Join us and thousands of other online players placing bets at mybookie.ag. If you guys are tired of getting excuses, tired of getting a runaround when it's time to collect your bets, no matter who you're betting with, because, some of y'all might deal with some shady characters. But that's why we urge you to join MyBookie. If you win, they pay. It's a fast payout, no hassle. You're pretty much wasting your time doing it elsewhere. They even have in-game live betting, so you can place wagers after the games start. So join now. MyBookie will match 50% of your first deposit up to $1,000. Yeah, for now, your money will just be sitting in your account for a while. But just use the promo code WARROOM, all caps, to activate that offer. Visit mybookie.ag today. Play, win, and get paid. That's all there is to it. So yeah, man. In some sports news, what's going on now? The NCAA, because of COVID-19, has made the decision to grant an extra year of eligibility for all spring sports athletes. Is that commendable? Predictable? Did they have a choice? What do you guys think about that? You know the NCAA can't do anything with and get praise.
Yeah.
So we're gonna kick them in the head.
I don't even think they had a choice. Like, what was the choice? Like,
right.
Like, yo, you done?
What were they supposed to do?
You finish or you done?
Yeah, like, what was they supposed to do? Like what?
I know Baby said that, but shout out to Manny Fresh. Speaking of somebody getting kicked in the head.
Yo, is he still with us?
He looked like he been kicked in the head.
Shout out to Manny. I don't know, B. He went up against Scott Storch last night on an IG Live battle of the producers, hit for hit. And I personally don't even think Scott Storch pulled everything out that he could have. Pause.
No, he definitely didn't.
You
And he
don't want no work with Scott.
Yeah, man. Somebody kept Jimmy. Did you see the bull who kept he kept posting in the comments skits over hits because Manny kept doing these little Scott Storch skits, and then he'll throw on a song. Like Manny Fresh he's great for what he does, but to me, a lot of that stuff, like when you're trying to go song for song with somebody, all of that stuff starts to mix together and kind of sound the same. Scott Storch's versatility.
Scott Storch,
my man Scott Storch, and I'm trying to make this hyperbole, but it might not be. My man was making like $1 million a week. That might not be hyperbole for a minute.
No, they said at one point at his peak he was getting 6 figures per track. But the thing is, there's not going to be too many people that can compete with him because first of all, he got the cheat code because I don't know if it's him or the cocaine that makes that music, but he makes beautiful music. And it might be because he got that white girl. When I'm with you. Yo, that white girl puts him in another lane where he started making futuristic stuff. But that's like music seasoning, Jeff. That's like music seasoning.
Wasn't he the boy that was eating Lil' Kim's groceries?
Yeah.
Wasn't he eating Lil' Kim's groceries for a minute?
You know what somebody else told me, though, Jim? Because somebody, a friend of mine was saying he thinks it was closer than everybody else thought it was. And then he said you also got to realize that a lot of Scott Storch, a lot of his stuff are like collabos with other great producers. But I'm like, that may be true, but I don't think he was pulling out all of that stuff. I think most of the stuff he pulled out was stuff that
New Orleans. Your friend must be from New Orleans. That's the first thing. And
because that's why it was so surprising. That's why I went to him. I was like, "You thought that was close?" He's actually from New York, so I don't know what.
Oh man, well I don't know what's up with the book. Because I'm saying the thing about Scott Storch though, a lot of stuff that Scott Storch actually did, he didn't get credit for because he was basically
he didn't get credit for it. Yep.
What you start to realize about guys like Kanye and Dre is like, yo, they be running like factories where they, you know,
right.
I'm gonna let you work with me.
And once they get that rep, they get all the credit.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm convinced at this point anything Dr. Dre has ever done with a piano in it was all Scott Storch.
That's how the game is played, though. B, what you think the young boy was doing sitting next to him yesterday? He probably cooking the ball.
Sold, not told.
He probably the new slave.
Scotty said the NCAA should pay athletes whatever tuition is for their school. Duke athletes get Duke money, etc. Okay, is that instead of giving them eligibility, or are you just saying that just anyway they should just be paying them? Either way,
you don't know.
Yeah, but back to them. I think I'm like y'all. I didn't think there was much choice, and I mean when you look at it from their side of things, there's a lot of schools out there. Some of these spring sports, hey, they wanted to win as well. So they're not ready to lose some of these athletes and didn't even get a season off in the process. So, shout out to them for doing something that they should do. But that's how it goes with the NCAA. Like, they've probably been on the wrong side of history so many times, even when they do something. Like, nobody's excited.
They earned it. It's like you like to say, Dev. It's like, should we pull the race card? No, but we earned the right. Look how many times you've been on the wrong side.
Yeah. I mean, and sometimes we should. Sometimes we should. Sometimes it's dead wrong, but it's our last line of defense when we know stuff not gonna go right. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Until we get reparations, the race card is reparations. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, that's our reparations.
Now, if y'all want to cut a check, then I'll stop using it. But until y'all cut a check, then
what size check that got to be, Jimmy? What size check?
A nice size check. That's all I'm gonna say.
nice size check. And right there is negotiating 101. My man will not negotiate against himself.
All right, so look,
what should that check be?
Real quick before we get Modi on, man, we gotta give y'all the quote of the week, and I wanted to give it to y'all in soundbite form. I don't think we had enough time to get it on the board, but the quote of the week is, "I made smart investments. That's why right now with this huge with this huge ish that's going on, all this crazy stuff that's going on, my investments are still paying off." That's y'all man, Floyd Mayweather Jr. Your man called the pandemic an academic.
He said we live at the end of the video.
But at the end of the video, B, he put some stacks up on the camera, so none of that matters. And that's what I saw a lot in comment sections of people who posted that. People were like, so what? He made so much money. It don't matter. Yeah, so I didn't know I didn't know it was justifiable to substitute just straight up stupidity for money. But it's the world we live in. It don't matter.
Hey, I see the brother Modi. The brother Modi's with us right now.
Yes, sir. So let's go ahead, B. Say what you're gonna say real quick before we get Modi on. I know you got at least a bar for Floyd Mayweather. In this academic that we in.
Oh my God!
Just save it, man. Let's get to the brother Modi right now, man.
You don't want me to go in.
No, because I see you sound a little bit flabbergasted. You can't even get your thoughts together.
I
man.
know.
Maybe
it's cool.
Maybe it's this academic we live with, man.
Modi got something for you, B. He got something you.
Oh man.
So let's talk to the brother. I know everybody here is calling him Modi because he's a close personal friend of ours. But if you guys have been on Deadspin's website in the past week, you would have seen on Friday an article was dropped entitled, "You Know Who Jameis Winston Looks Like After 5 Seasons? Peyton Manning."
No, he don't.
I would go as far I would call this a controversial headline. And the way I know that is because when we test the waters with it, we know a controversial headline when we post an article on our page and specifically ask for conversation about the article but everything that's posted is about the headline, and you can tell people didn't go past the headline to read what the brother was writing. But we're going to bring him on right now to talk about it in depth. Chuck Modiano. I was about to call you something else, Chuck. What up, Modi?
It's great to be here. It's been a while, hasn't it? It's been a while.
Yeah, man.
It's been a minute.
Listen,
it's been a while.
It's great. Last time there wasn't even a pandemic going on.
No, Jimmy, I sound like man Envy. I sound like Envy on the intro. But
yeah, you definitely did. But yo, last time there wasn't no pandemic. Last time we had you on, Modi, outside was open. Outside's not open right now.
That's right.
We run on punishment.
No, it's definitely great to
man, I read that.
We could truly say that the last time we talked to Modi, like it was a whole different world out here.
It sure was.
All right, so
Modi,
everybody
I
out there.
Question for you, Modi.
Okay, well, hold on, Jim. I'm just want to remind people. I hope everybody read it. Anybody in the chat room that's going to chime in, if you haven't, it is on our Facebook page, prominently featured. It was posted again today on there. So if you need to go in there and do a quick read before you send in some messages and all that, please do. Well, go ahead, Jim.
No, my first question to you, Modi, is first of all, congratulations on the article because I see it circulating all over the place.
Thank you.
But the question I have to you as a writer, and you're an accomplished writer. For those that don't know, you've written for a lot of big name publications. You've done a lot of work. How does it feel as a writer, though, when you get feedback and you know for a fact someone didn't read the actual article, they just read the headline? Because the same way we got feedback, I'm pretty sure you got the same thing. Like Dev posted it today, and people were commenting within a couple seconds, and we're like, "Yo, you didn't even read it.
No way you
all
read
you saw
that."
was the headline, and you jumped the gun. And I'm pretty sure you get that all in your mentions all the time. When
I was imploring people to read it because I wanted them.
I'll put a percentage on it.
I wanted.
Okay.
Good.
I'll put a percentage on it. 90% of people who respond to you never read past the title. They just never read past it. And I know this because they'll say that's the dumbest stuff ever. And then the next thing they'll say, I'll be like, that was in the article addressed specifically. Like, why don't you go to paragraph 5?
Right.
This is what you deal with, So, and here's the thing, man. I'm critical. You everyone on this line is critical on your talk show. If I'm going to come at another author, the very least I'm going to do is read what they wrote.
Just read stuff.
Because because I'm an author, but if I'm going to rebut you and tell you you're an idiot, kind of read what you wrote. I just think it's like basic, but this is what it is, and we all deal with that. That's fine.
It's ironic that you say that you say what you said as far as, because the very first, I'm going to read the very first response we got. That may be the dumbest sports headline I've ever read.
Yeah.
I'm like,
we here to make fun of the idiots. And that's what idiots are for, to make fun of.
They do.
That particular person, though, I give them credit because, what I do on the page when I have time, I try to get things out of people. So I did go back to him and say, but what about the actual article? So I kind of pushed him in the direction to read it. So maybe he would think, okay, maybe this would be a little bit different if I read it. He did end up reading it, so we had a brief conversation on it. Of course, he still wasn't trying to hear you, but at least I give him credit for going back and reading it and having an adult conversation with me instead of seeing who can have the best joke after they read the headline. You know what I mean?
Right.
Somebody told us April Fool's was yesterday. Why are you posting this? I'm like, just read it, please.
You know how many times I get the Mike Tyson gift clapping and laughing, the Nick Young face in my Twitter? I mean, all right, just make a critique. I'll accept a critique on something I wrote. I don't know, but we can talk about it.
Well, you know me, Modi. This is Dev. You know me. I'm never all in or all out of any conversation or debate that I'm in. Like, I'm always going to give, everything a chance. I might have some counterpoints for something, and I might agree with something else. I'm not really a side taker. So let's talk about it a little bit. So
let's talk about it.
I'm going to go down to the end of the article because this might actually give people more clarity on what your point was. Because I can see from a lot of the responses that we got that they didn't really understand your point. Everybody jumped to, whoa, Jameis Winston ain't no Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning is one of the greatest quarterbacks that ever lived. I tried to explain to somebody. I don't think his point, matter of fact, I can speak for him on this. I know his point isn't that Jameis Winston right now is Peyton Manning. The point is, because another guy was like, well, this article wouldn't have been written if Jameis Winston wasn't black. And I'm like, so on one way, you get it. Because it wouldn't have been written if Jameis Winston wasn't black. But you kind of get it and you don't get it at the same time. I can tell by your tone that you kind of don't get it. I'm like, that's his point. Because Peyton Manning had pretty much identical numbers to Jameis Winston after 5 years. Peyton Manning was allowed to go on and become Peyton Manning that you see him as right now. Jameis Winston doesn't even have a job, and he's having a hard time trying to find one. So that is the point. But what you said at the end, you said arguing about
white, because if he were white, he would have been signed quicker than Phillip Rivers.
Right. But this is where, and you would have to, people would have to stick with the article long enough to read this so they wouldn't have to ask those kind of questions. The last sentence in the article says, arguing about Winston's interceptions is not really about Winston. It's about not giving permission to future black Peyton Mannings or Brett Favre's to play through their mistakes to realize their Hall of Fame selves. And I'm like, if people could make it that far, they would probably understand what you were saying.
And maybe that should be the first part. I think we're talking about something much larger about black quarterbacks, and that when you really look at black quarterbacks, now if you roll out the gate like a Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson or Mahomes or Lamar, people, you're great. Now it's all pro or nothing. Well, most great white quarterbacks, they developed over time. They made mistakes, but what we find in sports and media. Right, they get benefit of the doubt. We're going to work through that. But what we find in sports media, the white quarterback is judged on the quarterback they could become, and the black quarterback is judged on the quarterback they are at that moment. So when Bill Polian, for the respected GM for decades, says, look, I want to remove Lamar Jackson to a wide receiver, okay, before even giving him the chance to see what he can do, we have to ask ourselves the question, over the decades, how many Lamar Jacksons or close to Lamar Jackson have been removed to wide receiver without giving the chance because in a league full of Bill Polians? And I would argue the same dynamic that hurts dual threats black QBs also hurts the gunslinger. We've never seen the gunslinger black QB who could throw and make interceptions and work through it except one person in history, and that was Warren Moon. Warren Moon had a rough 3 years. He got past it, and then he was his Hall of Fame self. But we don't see the black gunslinger. We see the conservative McNabb and Mr. Rod Taylor and people who hold on to the ball and keep it close, because if you sling it, you might be out of the league real soon.
Yeah. What would you call them from the school of Donovan McNabb? Just take care of the ball.
Just take care of the ball. You don't have the luxury to make them say so. So if you look at the top 10 and lowest interception rates ever, you got Tyrod there, you got Dak there, you got Russell Wilson there. Black quarterbacks don't have the luxury because that interception is going to be on YouTube and it's going to be on Twitter and it's going to be on social media 17,000 times, so it'll make it seem like there were 10 interceptions instead of one.
This is B. Austin. I want to say it was a beautifully written article, and where we agreed was when you arrived at that conclusion, because it's something that I think I've been saying, and I may even go as far as we. I don't want to speak for my brothers, but we have been saying for years, it really starts in the high school ranks where you have, let's call it what it is, you have white coaches and some non-white coaches that will take a black athlete, put him at quarterback, and he's such a tremendous athlete that they can win, but they never teach him the nuances of the position. He's not coached the same as his white counterpart. He's just an athlete with a strong arm, fast legs. We don't even get into whether or not the IQ is there. And then you move up the ladder to college. And over the last 20 years, 25 years, we've seen things change to where, you know, that dual threat quarterback can be accepted in the collegiate ranks, and then they get to the NFL, and the smart ones, quote unquote, and I hate using that term, but the smart ones know I can't turn this rock over, because if I turn the ball over and I'm a dual threat QB, they're going to say I'm a dumb jungle bunny who shouldn't be at the position. So I'm going to be very conservative. I'm going to use my legs, and I'm not going to be all that I can be as a QB. I'm going to use my athleticism where I can, but I'm going to be super conservative. We see in Jameis a lot of things. So I agree with the premise. I took issue with the example of Jameis, but we'll get into that a little later in our conversation. I think we've been saying for years, teach these kids, teach these young brothers the nuances of the position, and you'll see them flourish. And I think the tide is changing a little bit, but it's still in 2019, Lamar Jackson has to live with people asking him when he's ready to convert to wide receiver. So that speaks to where we still are. My issue with Jameis is more so him specifically, more so than the overarching premise of your argument.
And speaking of that, B, let me ask Modi this, because somebody on our page earlier, his point was more to who Jameis is as a person. He said Peyton Manning was a renowned leader. He threw a joke in there. He said Winston eats W's and is probably generally hated in the locker room for holding his teams back on the field.
That's not true. Listen to Chris Godwin this week. Chris Godwin was singing his praises, talking about he's a leader in the locker room. People speak glowingly of him in the locker room. He was going to bat for him hard, and that these are myths that are being said.
Exactly.
So, so this is just not true. If you speak to go ahead.
And all I want to say, Modi, is I just want to chime in real fast. This is Jimmy, by the way. I just want to chime in and say that I agree with your article. I don't even have anything to really debate you with your article. I just want to say I appreciate your article. I've been making this argument. But what your article did for me personally is, as I was reading it, it made me think. And you know, because sports, we always talk about how sports is a microcosm of the world. And what you said that was interesting is how they're judged. They're not judged on potential. They're judged on what they've done. And if you're like, you know, Patrick Mahomes, you're the top of the food chain, you're looked at one way. But if you're not necessarily at the top of the food chain, but you're a person that has potential, or, you know, say even a middle-of-the-road type guy, you're judged different. As a black man, I can tell you that's not just football. When you see in society, right, you know, you see how they prop up certain people and will point to certain people as this is the way you have to be. But you don't get the same benefit of the doubt as a black man if you're not, say, a Barack Obama, just to pick someone, because that's the person they like to throw in our face. Or if you're not, you know, one of these overachievers, you still don't get the benefit of the doubt. The article made me think about this on a whole deeper level, because it's not just quarterback. This is life.
Yeah. Well, it's a metaphor. Yeah. Well, first of all, Jim, great to hear from you. B. Austin, great to hear from you. Deb, great to hear from you. Let me just put that out there. Yes, I focus a lot on black quarterbacks and black coaches. A lot of my writing, a lot of my articles are on NFL putting them out. And these are leadership positions. These are black men being judged by white owners, by white GMs, by white media, 90% white male media, white fans, and being assessed and being misassessed and misjudged. So the reason a lot of times I focus on this is just what you just said, Jimmy. This is a metaphor. So if you could have every statistic at your disposal and say, Jameis Winston is the fifth quarterback in NFL history to throw for 5,100 yards. And that alone, plus actually knowing that throughout history, quarterbacks cut down on their interceptions. A ton of Hall of Famers have cut them out after 5 years, after 4 years, after 7 years, a ton of them. If we have this at our disposal, why wouldn't we want to see what comes next? Why would we judge it then? So if we have the stats, when you're in the boardroom, when you're if you're a black person in America, in corporate America, we don't even have the stats. And every day there are going to be old Phillip Rivers getting a job over you that don't deserve it because Jacoby Brissett wasn't judged on his 5-2 record when he was healthy with all his healthy receivers. He's judged when his receivers were.
But Jimmy Garoppolo was.
But right. 5-0. He went 5 wins and he went. So what we're looking at is that if we can't make the case, we have all the data that is backing the black coach or the black quarterback, like then what does that mean for every black person in corporate America where you don't have stats like that? What does that mean?
Yeah.
It means racial discrimination every day.
It's a great point, and I, it's a conversation that we, as America, there's a certain segment of the population that is either uncomfortable with continuing to have that conversation, or they're so used to controlling the narrative and seeing things from their perspective that they're irritated that the conversation continues to come up because they can say, oh, there's a Barack Obama, or they can say, oh, there's a Patrick Mahomes, oh, there's a Dak Prescott, oh, there's, this one or that one, there's a Russell Wilson. And if you peel the layer on the onion back even a little further, there's certain attributes about Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott that are disarming to that institution where, their interpretation is, oh, they're black men in quarterback. Well, there's certain things about them. You don't characterize them as the type of Negro that is threatening to you. And so you're okay with them because they're, the diet version. So that's another conversation to have. Jameis is far more representative of the field Negro in their opinion as opposed to the house Negro.
So,
all right, so
go ahead.
Beyonce always thinking deep.
I'll jump in with. You want me to jump in with some stats? Some just key stats people should know.
Yeah, go
Sure.
Start with some stats because I have some stuff that I want to bring up from my perspective and also from some other people that wrote some stuff on there. Because first of all, this is like when you first presented the topic to us, like I wanted to be able to have some pushback on some points, because for the people that don't know, like our relationship with Modi started, I mean, really we were in a sports bar in Toronto and Modi and Jamel Hill was arguing against me and B. Austin about Donovan McNabb. Like we had some very big disagreements about Donovan McNabb and what he was as a Philadelphia Eagle. So,
I probably had
this
too many
goes
drinks
way
that
back.
night. I want to apologize right now.
But Modi, no, really, this article is so well written because when the topic is presented and you have some stuff like, okay, I got some stuff for that. But then you look into the article and see like, well, damn, he addresses that. And then you go farther and you realize that the conclusion that people will jump to when they see what you're talking about is not the point that comes, the first point that comes to their head. Like most people are just thinking you're trying to say that he's Peyton Manning. And the pushback on that kind of goes out the window if you read further and you realize that that's not the point that you're actually making.
Well,
now back to this whole leadership thing, because it's difficult to judge leadership from where we sit. It's very difficult to quantify that.
No, but here's what we can quantify. Mm-hmm. What I am saying, and Tony Dungy said it before me, is Tony Dungy actually said it, and I heard him say it on the radio a week earlier, and I said, let me check the stats. Let me go to Football that reference. And I'm like, wow, after 5 years, it's identical, and I mean identical. Let's go deeper. So Tony Dungy inspired me to do it. And the more I went deeper, I learned so much just through the research. One of those articles where you think you're going to do it in a day, and then you keep finding new research and you're spending days. You're like, wow. And, you found out it's actually much more than that people don't realize that he's in the Bruce Arians system. We know you're going to have inflated interceptions in the Bruce Arians system, and that there are a whole number of quarterbacks who would have had 30 interceptions had they thrown it 626 times like Winston. Right. That includes Peyton. That includes Favre. That includes Eli Manning. That includes Big Ben the year after his Super Bowl. It includes John Elway, Warren Moon. They just didn't throw it 626 times. And not only that, none of those people threw 30 touchdowns in those seasons, and none of those people had even 5,000 yards. And none of those people had 4,000 yards in those seasons. And so
Modi,
there's a lot of data.
Modi, we would be remiss if we didn't go ahead and attack this from the other side of the argument.
You got it. Do it.
I can't thank you enough for taking the time to write it, publish it, get it out there, defend it, because I think the premise is spot on. I do question the example, and there's a couple of things, and because Dev, the point you just made is beautiful, because I was all locked and loaded, and when I read the article, I was like, wow, he debunks a great deal of my rebuttal to him, but I'm like, damn, I don't want to be a sellout battling Jameis on this, but you know what?
And you don't want to be the guy that Modi has to say, well, go to paragraph 5, sentence 3, and that answers the question. You don't want to be that guy.
So one of the things that stands out for Jameis, I want to throw a few stats out there, particularly around the interceptions with that season. 25 of those picks were thrown with a clean pocket, meaning he was not under duress. Yeah. He was not under pressure. He just tossed a pick. 23 within one possession. So he gets on the field and he tosses a pick immediately. 22 while targeting wide receivers, 19 when trailing, which we can get because if you're down, you got to throw the ball and defenses are set against that. 17 of those picks were in the red zone. 17 were against zone defenses, 13 against man, 13 against blitzes, 11 picks on third down, 10 in the fourth quarter. And then, of course, he had the record 7 interceptions for TD, which is the most ever in the NFL. The clean pocket stands out most to me because if you're not under duress, you know, and I had a chance to look at some of the all-22 film of him, not a lot of it, not a lot by any means, but some. And what concerned me with the 25 clean pocket picks was it appeared to me that he's not as adept at reading coverages, you know, and so to your point, not to even debunk my own, you know, rebuttal, but some of these things are a function of coaching and can be coached up. And so if you do have the potential there to throw for over 5,000 yards, you want to work with that as opposed to cast it off on the trash heap. But the picks are disconcerting. And the fact that he has problems reading the field, processing information, you know, maybe that comes from not being coached up, but it certainly is there. You know, he hangs in the pocket a little long. He misses open reads. He processes the field a little slow, and he misreads coverage.
And the ironic part about this is Jameis is a black quarterback, and he doesn't really want to run. So in a lot of those clean pockets, maybe he could get out of there. But Jameis has always been a quarterback, a passer.
Stand and deliver.
Remember, you and I were big on Jameis in the draft. I didn't even think that Marcus Mariota deserved the attention, the comparison to Jameis. I didn't even think, like, you know, when they were saying, well, Marcus could go first. I didn't think there was a chance, and I don't understand why it was even an argument. And I think that's even been proven in all of this. But I think, you know, what people are going to look at is now we're comparing them to the big dogs, one of the bigger dogs, one of the biggest dogs.
But I would like to. I'd like to do that, though. I'd like to do that. I mean, if you're asking me personally, my feeling is Peyton Manning's the ceiling and Brett Favre's his floor. I believe that. And I know you think I'm crazy for believing that.
No, I think Brett Favre
that's
Brett Favre is beneath the floor, but that's neither here nor there.
And that's not a bad floor to Brett Favre.
Jimmy,
and Brett Favre has
Jimmy
the
don't like Brett.
most interesting career because I really studied for 3 days interceptions of every single Hall of Famer, their patterns. And no one quite has a pattern like Brett Favre. Like on any given year, he could toss 25, right? And then the next year he could throw 13. And there was just no rhyme. Everyone else had a bit of a trend. Maybe Eli didn't. Everyone had a bit of a trend, or they tapered off, they got older. And not Brett Favre.
Joe Namath's trend is I'm just going to throw more interceptions than touchdowns.
Yeah. Oh,
Joe
Namath actually increased.
Yeah, Joe Namath is probably the most overrated QB in the Hall of Fame, bar none. He is complete.
In football.
Well, I left out. This was originally this could have been 4,000 words if I got into the weeds instead of 2,000, and I took a lot out. And one of the pieces on the 70s, when you're talking about Namath and Bradshaw and Ken Stabler, these are interception machines. These are people who average. Put it this way. Let me put this in perspective. This year, Jameis Winston averaged a 4.8 interception rate. Bradshaw, Namath, and Stabler averaged 5.4 to 5.9 for their entire career. For their career, they would have thrown 40. If they threw 626 times, they would have thrown 45 or 50 interceptions. Just so you know what we're dealing with historically. I didn't want to kill everyone's hero in the same article, but it's pretty awful. But I do want to hear. I heard the stats, and I want to talk about some of them, particularly when you get into certain statistics. The first one, I did dismiss in an article. There's no relationship to pick sixes. I mean, and future pick sixes. No. So he threw he averaged one pick six per year, and then it turned to 7 because sometimes it's intercepted and they return it, and sometimes they don't. Peyton Manning had 6 one year. That's the he broke. There's just no rhyme or reason to it. So I wouldn't think next year there's going to be.
In that year, Peyton did it. I think he might have had like 3 in one game or something like that. It was crazy.
It's a lot of luck.
It's a freak
stat. So
stat.
let's throw that out.
With any quarterback.
It's a freak stat. It's a freak stat. But you mentioned some very important stats, and I think they deserve some attention. I appreciate
the clean pocket.
The clean pocket. Let's talk about this for a second. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, when you listen to Chris Godwin speak, and when you listen to a number of things Bruce Arians said during the year, particularly when you're in a Bruce Arians offense, and he's like, Bruce Arians is basically like, sling it down the damn field. And he has a quote in there. He says, and if you don't sling it, I don't care if 2 people are on you, I'm going to yell at you, sling it. So when you see Bruce Arians, it's usually you judge a Bruce Arians quarterback by year 3. That's where Carson Palmer had his great season after his interception high. So there's a process that needs to go on. So here's what else happened. You have reads. And Chris Godwin said a lot of my interceptions, they were on me or they were on other people. And that when you're learning a new system and particularly when you have a lot of new coordinators like Winston, I feel bad for Mariota on that point as well. And you're going to have times where a receiver's supposed to be a certain place and they weren't. And even Godwin said, like 7, 8 of them, they were on us. They weren't on him. So when you understand that part, that you know that some of those interceptions, just with working in the same offense, in time disappear. And I want to tell you a stat I found that's not in the article, just through the research. There are 2 people who defied their era. And in the 70s, everyone was slinging it. That would make Winston look conservative. But Roger Staubach defied all of them. And he had a 3.7 rate, which is high today, but was low then. And then in the 80s, Marino's slinging it. He's throwing a lot of interceptions. People are throwing interceptions. It's not a big deal. But Joe Montana has a steady 2.6 rate throughout his entire career, very similar to today's quarterback. So my appreciation for both Staubach and Montana went up great. But I want to add something, and this is a future article I'm going to write. I'll just let you know right now. They had the same coaches their entire career, the same system, entire career. Montana had Bill Walsh all at the beginning and then stayed with the same system. Staubach had Tom Landry, stayed with the same system. And then I started looking at when do people have bumps. John Elway has an inexplicable bump in his like 9th, 10th year where he was sort of conservative, and then he goes to a 5.4 rate out of nowhere, 2.7 rate, 5.4 out of nowhere. Well, what happened in that year? He had a new offensive coordinator, and then They got rid of him after the year, and then Jim Fossil came in. But it was a one-year offensive coordinator. He didn't mesh with it. He threw some interceptions. This is John Elway, like Hall of Famer after 10 years. And when you start to look into the weeds, you find out when people have these spikes, they had a new coordinator. They went into a new system. They weren't ready. So what does that mean for a guy like Winston, who should have been with Lovie Smith, in my opinion, who was taken away as his coach after the first year, who he liked, and now is going to go on his fourth coordinator in 5 years? Are we factoring that into our equation?
That definitely has to be accounted for, and is a very valid point. I would even go to Joe Montana, and as great as he was, because I think Joe is definitely at the table of gods. Shout out to Jimmy's great work. But at the table of gods, we don't say there's a number one or an all encompassing alpha, but there's a group of guys that could vie for that spot. Marino and Montana are definitely there. But I can tell you that Joe Montana cannot throw a football further than most of us on this podcast right now. So if you can't throw the ball that far, he's very accurate. So he's not even taking the shots down the field that a Jameis Winston is going to take with confidence. And I compare that to one of the things that we always talk about in
Jameis does.
In basketball, but real quick. In basketball, we say, if I can shoot, then I'm going to take a higher degree of difficulty shot, i.e. Kobe. Kobe took some shots, and his shooting percentage wasn't really reflective of who he is as a shooter. It's that I believe that I can make these shots that no one else can make. And I would say Jameis is one of those quarterbacks that believes that he can make throws that other QBs can't. So, comparing him to a Joe Montana.
But he was also encouraged by Arians, because he had a 3.5 interception rate leading up, and then it rises to 4.8. And that's all Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians saying, sling it, and I don't care, just keep slinging it. We're gonna fix this later. And
but here's my thing.
I think that's really important.
I just want to say that some of the guys, when you look at the whole idea of Bruce Arians and the system, and like you said, that third year is when the actual change happens. And to me, that's the bigger point. He didn't even get a chance to get to his third year with Arians.
Yeah.
So even if I take everything that you say, B. Austin, as fact.
Yeah.
If his name was Paxton Winstonberg, would he still be quarterbacking there, or would he be looking for a job? That to me is the bigger point. Because did they really upgrade by getting Bridgewater? Is that an upgrade? Well, not Bridgewater. They got Brady.
That was a money grab. That might be the Glazers.
I mean, they got Brady. Brady's washed anyway. But when Bridgewater gets the job, right?
That might be the Glazers trying to get millions.
Bridgewater gets the job. Is Bridgewater better than Jameis? That's the point I meant to make. Is Bridgewater better than Jameis?
No.
No, they're just very different. One's a very conservative quarterback. One's a sling.
But that goes to your point. That goes to your point of having to be the conservative guy in order to maneuver around his league. But if his name was Paxton, he wouldn't have to be a conservative guy.
No, he wouldn't. You're absolutely right, and that's the whole thing. I don't believe we're having any of this conversation if Jameis is white. We're not. We're looking at the 5,100. That's what everyone's talking about. What can we do if we cut those interceptions in half, like Warren Moon did?
So to sum this up, the reality is you have Jameis Winston who does this and gets fired, and then you have the dude in Detroit who does this and keeps a job with spectacular mediocrity.
Right. Stafford's another guy. Well, Stafford's another guy after his fifth year. His interceptions went down. Jim Caldwell went down. Actually, Jim Caldwell would be the perfect coach for Winston, because wherever Caldwell brought Peyton's interceptions down after his fifth year. Then what happened is Caldwell brought Stafford's interceptions down, and that's his specialty. Also, as offense coordinator, won a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco. He's very meticulous on cutting down mistakes. It's the most fixable QB mistake there is. It comes with time. It comes with improvement. It comes with familiarity with receivers. So for me, when someone says he can't fix it, when there's a whole array of Hall of Famers who did fix it, I'm hearing racism. I hate to say it. I'm hearing, why do you think the black guy who threw 5,100 yards can't when I just named 10 Hall of Famers who did fix it? I got a problem with your analysis. And it's hard for me to have a different reaction than race. It really is.
And Modi,
I just want to make one more point real quick, Dev.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make one quick point. And to me, when I look at two guys who were number one picks, one with an MVP, now granted they're two different situations, one like 26 and 131, and they don't have a job, there's no way you can tell me that either one of these guys, if they were white guys, would be where they are right now. They're number one pick in the draft. One has an MVP, has been to a Super Bowl. The other guy threw for 5,100 yards, and they don't have a job. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
It's all pro or nothing in the NFL. Now we're getting
the funny thing about that point,
discussion.
Jim, I'm actually more surprised at the other guy rather than the MVP guy. Like with the MVP guy, people can try, they might be able to point to the injuries that he's had over the past couple years as to a reason why it's taken so long. But this other dude is healthy. Shit, just got his eyes fixed, which I always thought was an issue for Jameis Winston. Back, in the college days when he used to be on the sideline squinting to see the big board, I used to always wonder, like, does he wear contacts? Is he doing something about this, or
I'm
is
not
he going to let this linger?
I'm not disagreeing with you that it's more shocking for James. What I'm saying
is,
if you take their entire resumes, their age, what they've done thus far, and you change one thing, which is their race, if you change that, it's no way that they're dealing with what they're dealing with. That's all I'm saying.
I understand that perfectly. I have a question for all of you guys, back to the whole leadership thing, because sometimes I think leadership, as far as what the actual player does, and respect level, I think they might get, all mucked in together, and in some cases they probably can't. Do you guys think that players respect Jameis? And say, I guess we have to use Peyton Manning, because I don't really know that story either. Like, I don't know how they treated Peyton Manning on the sideline for his first 5 years. But let's just go with that, since somebody out here decided to say Peyton is a renowned leader. Do you guys think, with all the stuff that Jameis has gone through and all, off the field, and his stuff, never anything super, nothing criminal, malicious, or anything like that. He's just always gone through things where I think people looked at him as being a little bit immature, especially having to be the leader of men playing that position. Do you think maybe players look at that, and even though he might be trying as a leader, he might come across as a great leader, do you guys think people respect him in the same way that they respected a Peyton Manning back then?
Did they respect Big Ben Roethlisberger?
I mean, because we don't. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they didn't. And Jimmy, because people like to throw the whole Roethlisberger thing, like how early he won a Super Bowl. Ben Roethlisberger didn't have much to do with that first Super Bowl. He really didn't have much to do with that first Super Bowl. He was a decent young game manager who was thrown into a situation where he had a great team around him. Now, he eventually became more than that. He actually became much more than I thought he would ever become.
I was just saying that because of the whole off the field type situations where but for me,
that's definitely looked at differently. But for me, like, Ben Roethlisberger is still a good, even if we're not talking about exactly what you're talking about, he's still a good barometer because he came in and won early, and that might be, you might start getting respect outside of your organization because of that, because a lot of people out here who are sports fans, all they look at is, oh, he won a championship, this and that. But I'm like, he's a young quarterback. I'm pretty sure everybody on that roster kind of knew, like, we were ready to do this regardless. And he was just good enough to hold the ship afloat.
Can I say this Ben Roethlisberger point? Because this is a huge point here. Ben Roethlisberger won the Super Bowl in the second season, and then Jerome Bettis leaves, and Jerome Bettis was grinding it out back then. He retires, and now Ben has to throw more. And interestingly, Arians is wide receivers coach in this next year, and he throws a whole lot more. And in that year, he has his highest interception rate of his career, higher than Wentz this year. And if you extrapolate for 626 throws, he has a 30 interception year, Ben Roethlisberger does. And so there was some shifting going on. And what the difference is what we find when you add a run game, as you had before, particularly a grind that you lose Bettis, now you got to make plays and it changes. So we found with Peyton Manning, when with Edgerrin James, he was 35-17. When without Edgerrin James, he was 7-21. So Edgerrin was knocking out these TDs before he tore his ACL, and it had a huge impact. If you give Jameis Winston a ground game, he hasn't had a 1,000-yard rusher since his rookie year, then I think what you're going to see is a lot of those INTs go down, a lot of those wins go up. We have to look at the whole thing, and we didn't even talk about defense.
Yeah.
Oh boy. But you know what, though?
I mean, I don't necessarily think either one of them have been blessed with a great defense, but
but the counter argument to that though, Modi, is if you turn the rock over twice a game, you're already putting your defense in a bad position. You know, and we can say, we can throw it up in the air as to who's more responsible, Arians or Jameis. Arians told Jameis, fire away. So a part of that goes on the coach. But if your defense is bad and you're putting them on the field 2 extra times, 2 extra possessions, that's an indictment of your offense.
Yeah, but if your defense isn't giving up a bunch of points, you're not coming from behind and throwing interceptions either. So, I mean, chicken egg.
But the defense has been bad for 5 years. The defense has been bad for 5 years, though. I mean, my point is this, though. The one thing I recognize also about the article is I think that it's also because of the fact that you said Peyton Manning. And Peyton Manning has a bunch of sycophants and a lot of people who think he's the greatest ever. But that's either here nor there. But so that name is triggering to a lot of people as well. He's the epitome of like the homegrown white boy quarterback. So just using his what the
name.
Data says. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah. No. I'm not. Listen, I agree with you, but I'm just telling you that that's triggering to a lot of people because Peyton Manning is like. Yeah, he's.
And that's the thing. And Jimmy knows this about me. He knows it's different. He knows that I happen to think, and it took me a long time to admit it. I happen to think Peyton Manning is the greatest quarterback of all time. But the comparison the comparison isn't triggering to me though, because I listen to the details. I understand what he's trying to say. And Peyton Manning, the way I feel about, the way I think about Peyton Manning didn't materialize after 5 years. So
right, we're using
up to that point,
right?
Yeah, up to that point, Jameis deserves to be in that kind of conversation, but the narrative around him is taking him out of that conversation. Now, we all have fun with the 30 for 30 thing, just because it was something slick that you could say, some jokes that you could get off. But even what you wrote about that makes sense too, because the funny thing is we're all making fun of this, but the point is the dude threw over 30 touchdowns. But at the same time, I think the narrative is what it is, because I know the conversations that we've had about Jameis here, and I know a lot of other people feel the same way about him. I think the whole 30 for 30 thing is basically like, okay, we know Jameis is talented. We know what he can do. But the 30 interceptions, the 30 for 30 thing is the but in the situation. But there's this. Like Jameis is going to sling it. Jameis is going to kill people. I think Jameis' greatest game of his career was against my Philadelphia Eagles a couple years back. But
he's had some incredible games.
It's always that but. So I think the 30 for 30, I think people hang on that narrative because that's just Jameis. That's when you think of it, you're like, okay, Jameis has skills. Jameis can sling it with the best of them. But Jameis has a little issue where he might put his team.
Jameis gives it to the other team.
Yeah, but to me that's lazy though, because my point is, and I used to get criticized for this when I used to say, I used to make this argument years ago, Modi, before Jameis was even in the league. I used to tell people that if Aaron Brooks was white, he'd be Brett Favre, and people would get mad and cuss at me because Brett Favre was their guy. But the fact of the matter is, people only do that to guys like Jameis.
I used to think very highly of Aaron Brooks.
We both thought very highly of Aaron Brooks.
Brett Favre was allowed to walk around and throw the ball to the other team as much as he wanted to, and never received the criticism that anybody else does.
But your argument,
you know what that is, Jimmy. You know how people think.
I know what it is. It's called
this might not have anything to do with it, but it's all the seed of the Jordan era. As long as you win, you can do anything. You win that one championship, you got to pass for the rest of your career to do crazy stuff.
I used to think
unless people already just
I think
don't
that
like
only
it.
applies. That only applies to certain people. If Jameis was to come out and win a bowl this year and then go back to throwing interceptions, he wouldn't get the same benefit of the doubt. And I think that's what this whole thing boils down.
No, you're right. Did you hear the hate that Lamar was getting just because he had a bad playoff game? Do people know Peyton didn't win his first playoff game till year 6 and had 3 of the most horrific playoff games in his first 5 years? So they want to make excuses for him.
Modi, according to Brad Papinga, Lamar Jackson is just a poor man's Taysom Hill, not the other way around.
No, I saw that.
Did you see that?
That was so ridiculous. But you know what hurt my feelings is I got 1,000 likes.
2020.
No, it was, but what's more ridiculous, it got 1,000 likes or something like that. That's the scary part.
Yep.
Wow.
I mean,
that's the most ridiculous comment of 2020. And we're going through a pandemic where people say stupid stuff every day.
Hold on. Now be Austin. I know you're not a Cam Newton guy, but listen to this hot take that we saw. Someone said Cam Newton, if you take away his Heisman Trophy, his MVP, his Super Bowl trip, and all his touchdowns, he's not a winner.
If you take away everything he's won,
shout out to Yogi Berra.
Yeah.
Shout out to Yogi Berra
right there.
Yo.
If you take away everything he's won, he's not a winner.
If you take away Joe Montana Sports Super Bowl, he's pretty damn average.
This is the kind of criticisms that black quarterbacks
This is what we're
get.
dealing with.
It's almost comical.
It is comical.
Yeah,
and here's the consistency.
I agree.
The consistency is a language of permanence. So what's happening with Jameis is his interception rate today is his interception rate tomorrow. When they talk about Lamar Jackson, they say you can't win that way, a Super Bowl that way. They're making a permanent declaration. When they say to a black quarterback you can't read defenses, they're making a declaration that you can no longer improve. Not they need more support, you need better running backs. So this is the language of permanence that is happening with black QBs that's saying it can never happen, but the white QBs, it's not that language. It's what if we just give them ABC.
And Modi, you know why that burns it burns me up even more? It's because at least here, we're equal opportunity with it. You know what I'm saying? We're going to tell you how much Mitch Trubisky can't read a defense, just as anybody else. But the fact that they've already made that just a stigma that's attached to black quarterbacks, it's hard for us to be, it's hard doing what we do. And we try to remain objective no matter who we're talking about. We just try to keep it sports, unless we're talking about, a situation like this where we know, the playing field isn't equal. But it's difficult because if we do say something that, like when we used to have the whole McNabb thing, you understood we were just being objective, especially as Eagles fans. Because we probably we had way more invested than a whole lot of other people.
Fan. There's no such thing as an objective Eagles
we've had
fan.
every,
you know that, right? All of you are haters. You're all haters.
No, we have a reputation of being haters, but we we try to keep it that way. So what I don't like is if we do say something unflattering about a black quarterback, that's the only thing certain people notice. But they're not here for it when we're trashing Trubisky and we're trashing,
it's funny because
Jimmy and them used to straight give it to what's your man from Chicago, Jim, that used to play for your Broncos?
Cutler.
Cutler's a piece of trash.
When Jimmy's sitting here killing Brett Favre, somebody most people hold in high regard, it's like people don't notice that. But as soon as we say, McNabb used to throw ground balls. Oh, y'all some sellouts. I'm like, oh God.
Well, first of all,
So
I just want to bring up the fact that Phillip Rivers had no problem getting a job. His QB rating was in the toilet last year, and he threw 20-something. He threw 20 picks, I think, last year.
And neither did Tom Brady. I think he's washed.
He was clearly declining. Rivers was clearly. I've never seen him make those horrible throws like that.
I guess Tom Brady has to get the benefit of the doubt. I guess. I wouldn't.
Why Phillip Rivers got to get it
for my team?
Yeah,
but I think
I could justify Brady, not Rivers.
You can justify Brady because of his,
not Rivers.
His history. Rivers hasn't really, besides statistics. Now I'm not. I'm not crapping around. I think Rivers has always been a good quarterback. But
the guy that the Colts had playing quarterback last year, to me, was a better fit right now moving forward.
He is better. Brissett is better right now. Jim Irsay wanted a white quarterback to get more sales, period.
Jameis Winston is better right now.
So
like I said, the only one I can't really speak for is Cam because I don't know what his shoulder is.
No, hold on, though, Dev. Winston is better, but Brissett was already there.
He was already there.
Oh, yeah.
Very good.
No, I'm just talking about if you're dead set on like grabbing a quarterback, like Winston is better. But like you said, Brissett was already there. He's been playing well. Brissett has overachieved as far as what they thought he could be in every stop that he's been in.
Yeah.
So
the reason Phillip Rivers has that job is the reason Mitch Trubisky is a starting QB in the NFL because no one asked Mitch Trubisky to move the receiver, and they should have.
No one did. No.
Oh man.
No. Oh man. Oh, you're right.
Mitch does not know what he's looking at.
Definitely great work because like I said, outside of just like the quarterback thing, you made me think about this on a bigger level. So that's a great piece of work.
I appreciate it.
Congratulations on a new post with Deadspin too, because I know you're going to be cranking out some amazing sports articles.
Well, I'm going to be writing more because of this coronavirus has sort of pushed down my normal job to less work, so it'll give me more chance to write. So I look forward to it.
No doubt. I would say the same thing, but I got 3 children under the age of 8 in the house. So being home all the time, I probably have less time to do other things than I would have. Because I thought about that too. I'm like,
you got quarantined. You got quarantined into more. Yeah, quarantined into more work.
I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, like, man.
Get on vacation and do more work.
I'm like, let me call Jimmy because maybe I could finally crank this book out. And then first couple of days happened, and I was like, who am I fooling? I can't even catch up on all the TV shows everybody else talking about. What'd you say?
Hey, one day you got to invite me on that I'll make even a argument that will piss more people off, and that I'm a Geno Smith fan, and I would make the argument as I had that he had the same. Yes.
Oh no.
Now I want to hear this one.
As Drew Brees. I'll send you the article, but you can rip me now. But that's for another day.
Right.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Geno Smith
you can come on anytime you want, man. So whenever you want to talk about that.
Yes.
Geno
we don't have anything to talk about now anyway. So we can make an interesting conversation out of Geno Smith. I am all for it.
Yes.
Smith will tell you that Geno Smith ain't good.
No, I look forward to it. It's going to take too much time, but I wrote 3,300 words on how him and Drew Brees had an identical start. So that's
all right. Yeah.
Is that already published?
Is that already published?
It was published on New York Daily News a couple of years ago. And I watched all his tape. I watched tape of all of his games, everything. Yep.
Hey, yo, send me that link to that because I want to read that.
I'll send us
that, and I will tell you this.
We'll get a date where we can talk about that one.
Well, give me a date because I'll tell you this. A lot of people laughed at me and they sent me the Nick Young face and all that, and I urged them to read it, and they said, right? And then they said, all right, man, maybe I didn't. Maybe I was a little rough on Geno. That article made me reconsider. I had
I'm gonna let you know right now, Modi. I'm sending you the Nick Young face through the microphone. So we'll see. But hey,
Modi, are you going to defend? You got a defense for Quincy Carter?
I haven't analyzed Quincy's career. I can't. I have no
drug abuse.
Don't even worry about
abuse.
Yeah, I haven't done the research. I go
Same
where
as Jim McMahon.
data tells me. But let me ask you, what's worse, is the Nick Young face worse or the Mike Tyson clapping and laughing at you worse? Which is the worst gift to get?
The Mike Tyson was funny. So Mike Tyson was a little comical. So
yeah.
I don't know. They both up there.
But the way Mike was laughing, Jimmy, that just means he thinks you are the biggest joke ever. Like he was laughing really hard. Like
real quick, last point real quick, Modi. Someone in our chat says that shout out to Tobias. He says no one ever asked Josh Allen. He said nobody. Yeah, he's a Bucs fan, by the way. He said nobody ever asked Josh Allen to move the receiver, and he has.
That's a touche.
And that's another
Josh
guy.
Allen
even
in the mold. Go ahead.
Even though they did what they did this past season, I don't believe in Josh Allen. I have no belief in Josh Allen. But we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. He's in the Cam mold.
Because you know why? Because he still has a job, so we'll see.
Yeah, he's a less.
He still has a job, so we'll get to see.
Well, Modi, man,
right,
thanks for your time as always, man, and we're gonna stay in touch. Make sure you send me that article though. Text me that article.
I'm gonna send
because I'd love to read it. So,
all right, I'll send it to you. It's dense, but it's convincing. But I appreciate you guys having me on. It's been too long. Let's do it again soon.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
All right,
Modi. Take it easy, homie. All right, Modi.
All right, you got it.
All right, everybody. That was Chuck Modiano. Check out his latest article, the one we just had a conversation about, the Jameis Winston, Peyton Manning comparison. That is on Deadspin. It was just posted on Friday. You can also see it on our social media platforms, War Room Sports Facebook page, Twitter, and we'll get it up on the IG as well. Yo,
I got a question for you, Dev. What do you think our Facebook page, especially because we got the MAGA boys in our Facebook page, what do you think they're going to say if we post that Geno Smith Drew Brees article?
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! That's gonna be worse than this one. Like I told Mo, I'm side eyeing him right now until I read that. But no, that's the thing. Like because when we spoke. Because I read the beginning of the article, like when you and I, Jimmy, spoke to Modi offline some days back. Yeah. So I had only read a little bit of it. So I had a lot of, counterpoints that I was ready to make. But then when you actually read the article, like he does address, it's like he wrote it knowing exactly what people were going to say. So it kind of, if you take the time to read it and you take the time to be objective and understand the point that he's driving at, it kind of debunks everything that you think that you could say. So it's like, that's why I was so pressed to get other people, because I know the type of people we have on our page sometimes. I wanted to get some thoughts and opinions and some questions from them so I could just ask Modi that kind of stuff. Because, like I said, it wasn't the same. Like our Donovan McNabb conversations, arguments, debates that we used to have with Modi, they were kind of organic. Like he hadn't written a big piece on it, so it was point for point, and we had to kind of craft out the point that each of us were making. In this one, Modi he ain't leave you no time for anything. So it was definitely a great article. So if you're giving them the side eye because of the headline, I implore you to go read the article. And if you have any ounce of an objective mind, you would kind of see his point. If you don't want to see his point, which many people out there don't want to do, because like we said earlier in the show, we had somebody say, if Jameis Winston wasn't black, this article wouldn't have been written. Not knowing that you just hit the bingo. Bingo! Exactly. So that tells me you get it, but you don't get it, because of the tone in which you said it tells us that you don't get it. But yes, the author will tell you himself, if Jameis Winston wasn't black, this article would not, it would not exist. Let's go to the line. We got some people. We got a Bucs fan on the line now. I wasn't sure if Tobias wanted to come on and ask Modi something, or if he wanted to wait, because Tobias be coming with his own topic. So we waited. Tobias, what's going on, man?
What's going on?
Tobias got his own.
Let's be honest here.
He might not want to get bogged down with Modi's topic. What's up, man? Roll Tide.
Hey, what's good? Hey, that's right. Roll Tide till I die. Anyway, here's the thing. Hey, man, we already. You know his middle name is Beauregard, Jefferson Beauregard Sessions. Ain't that the most name there?
Named after Beauregard. Named after the Confederacy.
Yeah, that's the most Confederate name ever.
Yeah, that is definitely a Confederate middle name.
Yeah. And one of the high schools in my hometown is named after Robert E. Lee, the team named the Generals. My high school went to was Jefferson Davis, the first Confederate president. Sealand, there was Confederate soldiers.
Most of the Virginia has a bunch of schools too. They got where my wife is from, they had a Robert E. Lee. I think it was the middle or elementary school. They had the Jefferson Davis.
And the black people still played for him, didn't they?
Hey, it's majority black school. Hey, guess what happened, right? Most of the black kids supposed to go to George Washington
and just name the school after people that.
What happened is most of the black kids supposed to go to George Washington Carver, but they bust them all to those Confederate schools I named for sports purposes. You catch my drift?
We need snaggers on our team.
In Virginia,
lost in America.
But I read that. I read that article, and I think part of the issue is also we know how the Peyton Manning story ended, and people can't look at it that way.
People can't take that out of the equation, and that's what we're trying to tell people.
So also, but the biggest point being made that there's the bias
didn't read the article and brought it to our page. You know, Willie G ain't read that article. Shout out to DJ Willie G. He didn't read it. Y'all know damn well Willie G ain't read that article.
Willie can't read. Can't expect that man to do something he can't do. But one of the things that to your point, and it really sort of redeemed me on Jameis, is Jameis will never have the opportunity to fail and pick himself back up and reach those heights. And that is a metaphor.
That's where the problem lies.
for black males in the United States of America, period. You don't have the opportunity to fail left, fail right, pick yourself up and keep going. It's like you get one opportunity,
and that's it.
If you're like George Bush Jr. and you get caught with an ounce of coke, you done here. He went on to become the president. You go on to become president of the tier.
That's what the point is, because I'm old enough to remember when Manning was out here throwing picks all over the place. And the talk was completely different than what Jameis is getting now. Like, and I guess the point Modi was making is all about talk about how can we correct this? How can we fix this? Hey, if only he fixes this, then this is what we got. If he I've never heard one person say, yo, if Jameis can fix his picks, then he'll be one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Like, we say it, but on the mainstream media, they don't bring that up at all. But the fact of the matter is that's the stuff they bring. They make excuses for Trubisky. They made excuses for Cutler for damn near a decade. Like, he stunk.
And everybody hated Cutler. The team hated Cutler.
If he can only fix this, then Cutler.
I like him.
Frank came on here and told us, like, yo, well, you got a quarterback like Jay Cutler. Like, come on, man. Like,
yeah, it's one of our greatest quotes in 9.5 years.
You know what? And the thing is also is that I do believe Brady's washed. Arians look now. That you wanted to move on. Brady's the perfect person because no one's gonna criticize him. And as Shannon Sharp says, no one makes excuses with one player more than they do Tom Brady. Because when he wins, the receivers did nothing about the defense or the running game. But when they lose, boy, I tell you. But
that's true.
Because but. And that was a perfect out right there. It was to get Brady because no one can complain. You got Brady. Now you got Phillip Rivers or Bridgewater. People be like, well, what the hell? Might as well have kept this guy. But it's like society, right? Look at how like Jerry Jones went bankrupt and stuff a couple of times and stuff, and Donald Trump inherited money from his family, and Bob Kraft was like the setting up the Kraft Corporation. He got his money from, and so they can swing and miss. We can't swing and miss in business. So that food truck we running, because we know the obvious reason why we don't have wealth, it's why we fail. But at the same time, look, I always say the things I look at is that, hey, yes, I know this guy throws a ton of picks. I know. Kurt Warner won the damn MVP and made a Super Bowl throwing 22, and he had Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, Ozzie King, and Marshall Faulk on his team. He still – and then I also say this. The team sucked. all these years. James, the games where he didn't turn the ball over, they still lost. The games where he threw 100 quarterback rate, he lost more.
Only thing I can say about these type of comparisons is there's still an eye test though. Like when I'll be honest, I don't even remember this with Peyton Manning because I don't think I was. I actually think I watched Jameis more in his first 5 years than I cared to watch because I was a Jameis fan. Like me and B had a lot riding on what he did after the draft because we kind of mouthed off about him before the draft. Like he was that one. He was the one that was going to change.
I told everybody in the world that Marcus Mariota would be carrying Jameis.
He's going to mature off the field, and he's going to be the one that changes everybody's perception about black quarterbacks. So we mouthed off a little bit. The eye test kind of tells me sometimes though, like I'm watching and I'm like, what was Jameis thinking about there?
Like, I tell you what some of those were.
Silly,
he throw, and we didn't call Modi on that.
Like the throw of life.
Yeah, we didn't call Modi on that. Jameis throws some picks that you'd be like, you can only throw those if you're a complete ASS or you couldn't see. Like, there's no way that you throw that ball there if you can actually see.
That's why I was serious. That's why I was so dead serious when I was like, yo, at this point, I wouldn't even mind if the Buccaneers franchised him just to see if this LASIK makes a difference. If Jameis gets a job and he goes somewhere and lights it on fire this year, Tampa Bay is going Arians are going to feel so crazy because
you know what it is.
Tom Brady leads them to any kind of success. It's going to be short lived. But if you got a Jameis who sees in 4K now and it changes what he does. That's years to come. Like, he got years left. They're going to be begging him to come back. They're going to be trying to trade him.
Real quick, because I want to fight back against that a little bit because, again, I actually remember Peyton early in his career because I'm one of these weirdos. I was playing fantasy football in 96. When he came in around, 98, I think 98 or 99 was Peyton's first year. But anyway, I watched him play. That's why the comparison is so crazy because some of those interceptions were exactly the same. And the thing they would say about Peyton Manning when he threw picks that was like, yo, what are you looking at? They would say, well, the receiver should have been in that spot. And they would make excuses for him that they don't give Jameis. Not saying that, that's not because to me it could be the same thing. Who knows? I don't know.
I think a lot of times, though, when you hear, especially knowledgeable, announcers say stuff like that.
Not Stephen A.
I think a lot of the time, they are right, but we're going to look at it as excuses, especially, if it's somebody that.
Yeah, I was about to call Jimmy.
What I'm saying
I was about to call Jimmy on that one.
I'm not
talking about it. Because a lot of times
you
do see quarterbacks coming at their receivers, and the receivers on some my bad type stuff. No, but I understand what you're saying, though, Jim.
My point is the benefit of the doubt. We don't get the benefit of the doubt. It's to me, it's just utterly ridiculous. And to me, it's not even. It's in plain sight now.
And you know what else though?
Tom Brady and Phillip Rivers are ass now.
Winning cures all, no matter what the reason is. Because even if what Modi says is true, and Peyton won these games because he had Edgerrin James and might have had a better team around him. Even if that's true, we all know it from watching sports all of our lives. Winning cures all. Winning definitely extends opportunities. So the fact that Peyton Manning may have had these identical numbers to Jameis Winston,
he won.
Peyton and his team were, they won more games than what Jameis has won. But his leash got a little longer, and they allowed him to become
likable too.
But that's why
Tampa's not willing to allow Jameis to become what we might think of Jameis in 10 years from now. But he can go somewhere else and make him pay.
I'm gonna keep it 100 with you on why I rung the towel on Tobias. Man, Dev and I was talking so much smack on Jameis, and I probably more than Dev. But I told people that by year 5, Jameis Winston will be able to buy Marcus Mariota's family, and Marcus Mariota will be carrying his luggage.
And you know why I think he got into most of those discussions, B? Because Eagles fans were on Marcus Mariota so hard, and
they were
rooting. They were rooting for Chip Kelly to uproot our whole organization to get this ball.
You know what? Marcus Mariota cannot hold Jameis's jockstrap, and I'd be angry every time I see that they're both still starting in the league. Jameis let me down, and so I was looking at the picks and I'm looking at the decision. I'm like, man, Jameis ain't gonna come around. But it is a function of coaching. It is a function of coaching.
You know what? I'll say this because, a lot of these people on these debate shows don't watch Bucs games because we on the crap TV in the bar. I know. But they keep talking about this. Oh, this defense turned around. They played the Lions on a third-string quarterback in one of those games. They split with the Falcons. Yeah, they played the Texans, but we know DeAndre Hopkins sucks when Will Fuller's not on the field. And that's a good job by the Eagles not trading for him for that reason.
You don't have a Will Fuller on the other side.
Yeah, and plus also they also played a Colts. They played a Colts team with a broke down Jacoby Brissett on his injuries. So it's a confirmation bias. Do you remember how these people in the media and some of these Bucs fans still talking about those first two games that Ryan Fitzpatrick played that year, James? And I always say, what the hell happened to the rest of the games? Like that didn't happen. He sucked those games. And my point is, Mariota got a job, and he can't move the damn ball.
He already got a job. That's what.
And that's
to
the
me.
thing.
That's why right now it's just blatant. It's blatant. Mariota got a job. Phillip Rivers, he's double ass. Tom Brady is triple
Mariota
ass.
got his job taken.
Well, no, he got another job. The Raiders. They want him to.
The Raiders signed him.
He gonna start?
They want him to. The Raiders said they want him to fight for the starting job against Derek Carr. They took his big contract and they said they want him to be a starter. So it's like he already got a gig.
No one asked Marcus Mariota to be a receiver.
Yeah, about to say Derek Carr not what he was 3 years ago, but
these white quarterbacks be like failing forward, cuz they fail forward.
Well,
Nick
Mariota
Foles
ain't
keep
white,
getting
but.
money. Now Nick Foles got a Super Bowl, but he keep getting jobs. Chase Daniels made like $50 million just holding the clipboard, and Bruce Arians out here saying he
a lot of money.
Right.
Hey, get this.
Nick Foles is where I'm gonna have to stop you. You know it ain't no Nick Foles slander around here.
Yeah, I know. But y'all made the right decision.
Everything he gets.
Hey, but get this.
He's not getting enough. He's not getting enough. They need to pay him more.
Hey,
and give him more starting jobs.
But you guys are talking about coaching, right? You guys are talking about coaching. You guys are talking about coaching and everything, right? The numbers point out that Jameis was actually pretty damn good on play action and moving the pocket. Well, you got a running back where you can't find on the waiver wire, can't help play action, which Tom Brady loves as well. But Bruce Arians didn't want Jameis to move. He wanted him to stand in the pocket. So why are you not letting him do what he does best?
I just want to point out that the Steelers are running back. They got Mason Rudolph and Duck Rogers.
MAGA Rudolph, get it right.
MAGA Rudolph and Duck Rogers, they running them back. They're like, Big Ben come back or not, we got 2 other quarterbacks they pay us.
See, people keep talking about it's like now, they say that honestly, if I was advising Jameis Winston, I would try to hop on a good team and be a backup. Don't go to Jacksonville; they'll kill your career. Don't go to the Chargers because the coach don't want anyone to turn the ball over. He wants conservative Tyrod Taylor. Nice guy and all, but he's like Kirk Cousins. 3rd and 10, gonna throw the 4-yard pass.
But back up on just a good team or a team with a franchise quarterback. I think it's different. I mean, some teams are actually good without a franchise quarterback. I guess that could have been like the Titans last year.
Yeah,
maybe the Titans, I don't think they'll be really married to Tannehill if you have a Jameis backing them up. Tannehill gets hurt and Jameis comes in and lights it up, takes this good team farther than they even went last season. Yeah, then I think he could be in that mix. I don't think they'd be married.
Michael Lombardi. I heard Michael Lombardi talk. He put it on Twitter. He was like, "Would you rather have Jared Goff for his $35 million, Cam Newton on a look and see, or Jameis Winston on a look and see?" And a lot of people are like, well, fuck, I'll take Jameis. Because think about this, right? Jared Goff stinks. We know that, right? The guy can't even call a play himself by the coach telling the whole thing. And so the problem is you got to talent the guy like Jameis or Cam Newton, and you got a mediocre quarterback in front of him, the locker room gonna be like, why the hell are we still having this guy running out here?
Exactly.
Because,
Jared Goff is a 2-pack of ass.
Yeah. Hey, guys, I know you guys got to run, but I'll say this real quick. For the folks who say the team like James, I'll tell you who likes him. Adam Humphries got a nice deal with the Titans. Cam Brate, the tight end, came off the street and got a nice contract. Chris Godwin's about to break the bank as a third-round receiver because of this guy. And Brashad Perriman, who bounced around 2 teams as a first-round bust, got a 1 year $8 million from the Jets. So if you're a receiver, hey, don't go to the guy.
Everybody got paid but Jameis. Everybody got paid.
Brashad Perriman got paid so much that the Jets cut somebody that I think is better than him to sign him. Jameis got him paid, boys.
And see, here's the thing, and I always say this. It's like I've been saying it for years. Look where you go. Russell Wilson came in and didn't have to lead the team or be the savior. He had a Legion of Boom and Marshawn Lynch. Mahomes sat behind Alex Smith for a year and had Andy Reid as a coach. Who else? Lamar Jackson with the stable Baltimore, and they tailored their whole offense around what he does well. So we got look at some of these quarterbacks. They want to do things that they don't do well. Like even Buffalo's doing it with Josh Allen, but they probably closing their eyes every time he throws the ball because he can't hit the ocean standing in it. And that's a win and go. Because here's the thing with him. They got a decision to make on him. He's in year 3. They got a decision to make on him. Are they going to pay him all that money or look around and try to find somebody else?
Who?
Josh Allen from the Bills. He's
Josh
in year
Allen
3.
in Buffalo.
They'll have to make a decision on him in a year. Are they going to want to pay him, who's super limited throwing the ball, or look at somebody else? And just because
I actually don't agree with y'all with Goff. I wouldn't put him in the 2-pack of ass category yet. In 2019, he didn't have what he did in 2018, but he's still, I'm going to be fair. If I'm going to sit here and defend Jameis, I'm going to just not ask.
I ain't say Goff. I ain't say Goff was a 2-pack of ass. He a half a pack.
I know. Yeah.
That was Jimmy said 2-pack.
But when you pay him $35 million, that's the thing. That's the thing. Is he a third? They made the mistake of paying him $35 million.
That's what they're doing. They're paying a lot of these young dudes too much too soon. So of course, in comparison to his contract, there's a problem.
You wait him out.
But if you look at Goff, if you want to do what we just did with Modi, if you just want to look at his numbers and stuff, ain't nothing about his numbers that tell you that he's ass. And then nothing about the success they've had over the past 3 seasons that would tell you he was ass.
To use my Devin phrase,
I'm gonna be fair on that one. I can't defend
my eye
James.
test tell me that he ass.
Yeah, I don't know what your eyes been watching, but I think
my eyes watch.
As soon as the Rams started to go down a little bit, I mean, it's how it is. Quarterback.
They're about to go down because they're in salary cap hell. And they don't have a first-round pick for the next 3 or 4 years.
Once the running game wasn't doing what it did before, his assness came out.
He cannot play in cold weather.
That's the thing. If we can say that, and he still threw for 4,600 yards, 22 touchdowns, 16 interceptions.
What Dale?
Looking at
Dale? 500 that came against him.
Davis had benefit of the doubt.
He
didn't have numbers as gaudy as Jameis, but I can't call him.
Like I said, I test tell me he's booty butt cheeks. But go ahead though.
Well, 500 that came against that vaunted Bucs defense that the media's slurping all over now.
What we are mad at everybody else for doing.
No, I'm not. He asked.
But gotta be. I don't know what you're
watching. Can I ask you guys this though? Can I ask you guys this real quick? Because I do think the Bucs gonna make the playoffs. They should, especially when you got an extra team in there now.
What?
Do y'all think that Bruce Arians, the way he was trashing Jameis in the media, making like he was the reason they lost these games, even though the kicker missed like 13, 14 kicks and missed like 3-game winners, and the defense was terrible most of the year, that if they don't make the playoffs, which may be a chance because Brady's could be 43 years old with no OTAs, who they going to blame now?
But they ain't never played Brady, so.
I don't think I'm wondering why we having a conversation about the Bucs in the playoffs.
Hey, they gonna blame Super Bowl.
Arians set himself up to get blamed. Like, because if Brady don't do well, they're gonna blame Arians. And if Brady does well, guess what? Arians ain't getting no credit. So I wouldn't even want Brady on my squad.
But hey, you guys have a good one, man. That was a good interview too, man. I like when people like that get on the show as well, man.
I appreciate you. Appreciate you.
Because he's not a hot take guy. He watches the game. Peace, guys.
Peace.
I don't know, Modi's a researcher, and Modi will tell you exactly how many words you wrote. I'm like, damn, Modi know how many words.
Modi text me two of his articles. I'm gonna share with y'all when we get off here. Like, yo, my man wrote a gazillion think piece on Geno Smith. Like, he wasn't lying, yo. Like, he really, he really made this argument.
Modi, I'm gonna go out on a limb here before I read it and say Modi taking stuff too far now. but I'm gonna read it objectively. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna try.
Yo, shout out to Modi, man. Yo, my
Geno,
man.
Geno was a 2-pack. Geno was a 2-pack of what, Jimmy?
2-pack of ass. But yo, I just want to put out there that that your man over in the Rams, my man is Jared Goff. He's scared to call audibles, y'all. He a grown ass man scared to call audibles.
Some coaches
so was McNabb.
I was about to say some coaches put that fear in you. Like, boy, you better run with that call.
And McNabb ass too though.
You ain't that good. You better run with that call. I give people, I've given him grief over the years. I wouldn't put him in the ass category.
I know, but I can't wait to watch him fail now. Every time
I put him in the
every time he failed, now I'm just gonna remind you that he asked. Every time he failed, from this point on, when he failed.
And I refuse to get into any more than 30-second conversation on McNabb. But the problem with him was, you heard everybody brag his whole career about how he didn't turn the ball over. But what they failed to acknowledge, when he did turn it over, it was always in the worst times, worst moments.
Listen, man, to quote Donovan McNabb, yo, I left the field with the lead, so that's on y'all.
One time. And that's why he said it, because that's the only time he could say it.
My man said, yo, I left the field.
What
kind of leader is that?
Previous three.
My man said, yo, I left the field with a lead.
You didn't leave the field with a lead.
He said, hey, my fault the defense couldn't hold up. I left the field. We had a lead.
This boy waited to the 5th NFC Championship game and said, I left the field with a lead. Yeah, for the first time. Man, like, what are you talking about? All right. But stat of the week, real quick. This is crazy for all you baseball heads out here, but I mean, if you know Cecil Fielder, then you know why. But he didn't steal his first base until his 1,097th career game, which is the longest duration in MLB history without a stolen base. That's crazy.
First off, how did he even do that one? Like, I don't remember Cecil Fielder ever stealing a base, because by that time he should have been a DH.
Yo, it's crazy if you go to it. That mess around be his only stolen base.
Because he played 162 games per year, right? What is it? I forgot sports now. It's 160 games a year, something like that.
162.
No, it's 80. Is what?
162.
Okay, I forgot. Remember sports? Remember that thing called sports we used to have back in the day? Anyway,
yeah.
We went on.
We used to go outside back. Remember we used to go outside back in the day, yo. So you're talking about at least like over 6 years. You're talking about 7 years. Like, between 6 and 7 years. Damn.
That is crazy. That is crazy.
That's what wasn't into that running the base life.
Yo, we gonna be in a dystopian future. We talking to the next generation like, yo, we used to go outside. We used to like hang together. And they be like, FOH, go to IG Live.
The funny thing is, Jim, you would expect that stat more so from his son than him, because Prince always been a big dude. So Prince, you gonna try and steal no bases? I wonder how many he got.
No.
Yeah, Prince Fielder got 18 stolen bases his entire career. That's Prince. That's the son. I don't know what.
Yo, the greatest thing about Prince Fielder is like, yo, he's a vegan, so he like goes against everything that you think vegans are, because.
I know.
It's not even a joke. That's a true story.
He eat a lot of vegan cake. A lot of that.
Yeah. All right, man. So, yo.
Yeah, y'all. Go ahead. I'm looking up this. Y'all can move on to.
Yeah, man. Listen, man. So let's just jump into a couple things before we get out of here, man. We ain't got that much time left, so couple stories I want to talk about real quick.
He got 2 stolen bases his whole career.
I just want to bring this up so we can slander the boy. That Kendrick Perkins, right? Let me tell you a quick story about Kendrick Perkins real quick because we only got a couple minutes left. Yeah, so Kendrick Perkins, right? He went to the store and his credit card got declined, and he didn't know why. Come to find out,
you was a marginal NBA player who didn't make a lot of money. You bum.
Yo, to find out. Yo, hold up, listen, man. Let me finish the story, man. Yo, he found out that his kids charged $16,000 worth of Fortnite purchases on his card.
You have no control of your own house, and you be out in these streets.
They don't even respect you. They don't even respect you.
These kids treat you like Kevin Garnett before y'all teamed up.
Hell no. Yo,
did y'all hear that story between them? Kevin Garnett used to talk about dude like I do. Like, who this bum ass dude?
Wasn't it him that Royce White just cussed out recently?
Was it? Yeah, I think that was. Yeah.
Yo, I don't know if you saw it, what the boy Royce White told him, B. Austin. He told Kendrick Perkins.
Royce White talked greasy like he actually played in the league. And
Royce White invited him for some hands.
Yo, he said when I see you, it's going to be He said when I see you, it's going to be 2 to 3 minutes of violence.
Of straight violence. The only thing is, Royce ain't getting on no plane to where anybody else going to be. So what are you talking about?
Yo, how you somebody when I see you is going to be 2 to 3 minutes of nothing but pure violence? Yo, that's an ill threat.
Yo, but he said,
my man Royce talk all type of stuff.
But it has added features that can run up money. $16,000? Like you don't know your kids are charging $16,000? You better get one of the credit cards like mine where you get
all the features.
An email and a text every time it's used. Yeah, you need alerts.
Dog, on my Amex card, if somebody charged $1, I get a notification on my phone.
Right.
But
yo, he just stunned on your dumb ass. You got that Amex.
I ain't stunned for real. I could have said I got the platinum business joint, but I ain't say that though.
Yeah,
real quick.
Jimmy, like I'm broke, baby.
I'm broke, baby. I just want to point out that Royce White, is out here talking like Prodigy right now. That's all I wanted to, point out. That sounds like something Prodigy would say.
R.I.P. to the God.
R.I.P. Prodigy, man. R.I.P. Prodigy. Yo, also real quick before we get out of here, ESPN did a poll on the greatest college basketball player ever, and Michael Jordan won.
Yo. And I know Jimmy. Yo, go ahead, slander, man. Because listen, I'm the biggest Mike fan. I'm the biggest Mike fan. That was disrespectful. Why they do that?
But this is what you do when you let sports fans vote on stuff. It's all about
sports talk. It's
all about personal feelings. I bet you 95% of the people who voted didn't even see Michael Jordan play in college. They probably just see the highlight they show of that one shot that he hit when it was still like 8 minutes left in the game. I'm exaggerating, but there was literally like 3 possessions after that shot.
They didn't even know what college he played for. You talking about that shot? They don't know that shot. They don't even know who he played for. He just might.
Come on,
It was like 1.5, 2 possessions left after he hit that shot.
No hyperbole. Is Mike even top 100? Is Mike even top 100 college player?
I know he's not top 30, but Mike.
I would put Mike somewhere in the top, maybe high end of 20 to top 30.
I don't think he's in the top 30. I think he might be top 50. But here's the thing, though. I don't think Mike was the best college player on that team.
On
his own team.
He wasn't. I mean, a couple of them dudes left before him. So I think he eventually became that. But before, when
if I worked at it, I can name 30. I can name 30 college players better than Mike. I worked at it.
I can.
I know I can.
And Mike is the god. Mike is the god. But come on, man.
You might be able to name 30 people from North Carolina better than Mike.
Nah, JJ
JJ Redick is arguably a better
no, talk about a college player, not a basketball player.
You look at draft positions, a lot of drafts. Yeah, because JJ had broken all ACC records by the time he came. You know what I'm saying? Christian Laettner was better. Like, that's just a dude from Duke.
Danny Manning.
Like, Chris Webber.
Come on, man. We not even getting into
Danny
Bill
Manning,
Walton, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah. We ain't got time to name all these. I was saying, we didn't even get to Jabbar and Walton and cats like that. We talking about cats.
Oscar Robertson was one of the illest college players ever. We didn't even get to that, man.
Yeah, I put Jamal Master in there. There's somebody to say what?
Monster man.
So anyway, man, that's a joke. Real quick though, because we got time. So investors are trying to pressure Papa John's to remove Shaq from their board. Shaq sits on the board of Papa John's, but allegedly he doesn't go to any meetings. So some of the investors are like, "Yo, why are we doing this?"
75% of the board meetings this past year. 75%. They said everybody else shows up to at least 75%. I think
now,
Shaq
here's.
Oh, go ahead, Jim.
I was going to say, here's where the thing becomes crazy, though, right? So another story came out today that since putting Shaq on the board in the commercials and things, Shaq has added 30% revenue to their brand and their value. So they have the data to prove that there was a good move in adding Shaq. So I guess he's going to try to fight on that. But
I guarantee
he don't show up to work.
But I guarantee you that's the understanding that Shaq had. Shaq probably like, yo, I'm coming here to be a figurehead to make this business better after this dude, dragged it down with the stuff that he said.
Shaq has always said. Shaq has
Shaq
always said that his mentor in business was Magic Johnson, and we know that Magic don't show up for work either. So I guess he was like, this is what this is what I was taught. He's like, this is what I was taught to do, dog. You leverage your name, you get it, leverage your name, and then don't show up, but get that chicken.
Shout out to Hova.
Don't worry about the virus. Always know where the cure is at, and keep it pushing.
Yo, I need Magic. That's the case.
Might be the greatest name right now, in the history of business at this point.
Listen, man. But you know what though? Like I don't even knock that, man, because y'all they did that too.
You can't knock it.
Shout out to John D. Rockefeller. All John D. Rockefeller did was leverage his stuff for his whole career. So shout out to him. But let's see the hit there, man.
Our president does the same thing. He don't build nothing. He just put his name on it. He is celebrity.
That's all you gotta do is leverage, man. Leverage is the key out here. So take nothing else from the show. Understand that Jameis got a bad rap. Geno Smith got a bad rap, and use leverage in business. So those are the takeaways for everybody listening to the show right now, man. Yo, I can't wait till y'all
ready to die on that Geno sword just yet. I gotta read this.
I can't wait till y'all read it. Yo, the fact of the matter is, Modi is my guy for even having the audacity to write this. Yo, Modi's my guy, yo. Like, I need Modi to be like my lawyer. If I ever get in trouble, I'm hiring Modi as my lawyer because, like, yo, he gonna make an argument, and you be like, you know what, you got a point there.
I'm like, I do not want no NAACP appointed lawyer. I want Modi.
Yo, and shout out to one thing and for those out there who's still listening, if you're still hanging in with us, I just want to say we didn't even bring up the fact that, yo, Modi is an activist too. Modi was on the front lines in Ferguson. Yo, Modi was in St. Louis with Mike Brown. Like Modi be in these streets, man. So
about that life,
you don't just write about it. We didn't even get a chance to ask him about that.
If y'all don't understand why we're laughing, his name is Chuck Modiano.
Anyway, man, with that being said, it's time for us to get out of here, man. Yo, we got to roll, man. Yo, thank you, brothers and sisters, for joining us for another briefing in the War Room. Shout out to everybody in the chat room, Facebook, Twitter, everybody in the group chat. We appreciate it. All the callers who called to get through, which is only a couple because we had a nice long talk, but we appreciate you, Tobias. Special thanks to Modi for joining us to talk about his article. That's Chuck Modiano if you want to look him up. Also, look at his article. It's on our page. Tune in next week, live right here on demand as we catch you up on all the sports topics for the week. So until then, enjoy your weekend. The start of next week. Please stay safe, and we'll see you right back here next time. Catch everything we do, all of our conversations, social media, all of our content, everything at the hub of warroomsports.com. Also, pick up my book, Sports the Book. You can do it at sportstobook.com or the hub of warroomsports.com. But until next time, everybody, don't accept mediocrity. Be steadfast in the war against ignorance, and we'll see you chumps on top.
Welcome to the war room.
Jimmy, know the blueprint. Every Thursday, 6 to 8, they do this. Shout out to Dev, PJ, B. Austin, Bay on replay. WarRoomSports.com. Get that mobile app. If not, dial 323-140012. They be going and you sensitive, then oh well. Physical podcast, let's talk sports. Showtime like magic in the block push. Listen live, push one to join in. Rip your team or listen for your enjoyment. Hip hop scholars, pit stop and knowledge. Should be in sports credits, I ain't talking college. 5 guys, no beef though. Corporate secret, but the streets know. Belafonte, I got a G flow. KC royalty, I'm in beast mode. 2 hours, get your game up. Who's the best in sportscast? You better name us. War Room Sports. Yeah, you know, Jimmy, Dev, TJ, Shot Bay, B. Austin. I'm Jock. Up and coming on the beat.
War Room Sports, www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.